This is the first Mission Impossible movie that I got to see in theaters, and it makes me so sad that I didn't get to see the other six in the cinema, because what an awesome experience this was. But before I break that down, let's talk about the premise. Ethan Hunt and the IMF team must track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens all of humanity if it falls into the wrong hands. With the control of the future and the world's fate at stake, a deadly race around the globe begins. Confronted by a mysterious, all-powerful enemy, Ethan is forced to consider that nothing can matter more than the mission, not even the lives of who he cares about the most. Tom Cruise, Ving Rhames, and Simon Pegg are in fine form here, especially Tom Cruise, who gives an emotional, vulnerable performance as Ethan Hunt, more vulnerable than he's given in the past films. And I have to give him props once again for doing all these insane stunts at 51 years old. Jesus, this man is insane, but I appreciate him for entertaining me this way. Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg are paired together in this movie a lot more than they have been in past films, and they are the more lighthearted, fun parts of the movie as they bounce off each other as they're trying to help Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, get through a lot of the crazy scenarios that they're put through in this movie. But enough about the fellas. We know how good Tom Cruise, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg are. They've been in a bunch of the films. They're always going to be amazing, and their chemistry is always going to be great. But let's talk about the ladies, because not only do we have some returning ladies that are great, we have some new people to the mission that are awesome as well. Let's start with some of the older ladies. Rebecca Ferguson. Awesome. She's awesome in every film I see her in, but she is really great as a counterpart to Ethan Hunt, her character, because she's so similar to him, but just a little bit more wiry. She doesn't dedicate herself to any country like Ethan Hunt does, and their relationship, their chemistry, obviously they're not in a relationship, but you can tell there's a connection there where they really care about each other, and Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson has amazing chemistry, and her character is such a badass, and she seems so much more comfortable as a character here. Like, she fully knows who she is, and she has some great fight scenes in this movie. Vanessa Kirby returns as the White Queen in this film, and she does a great job. Her part is a lot smaller, and she's more in the second half of the film, but she's having so much fun with what she's given. She's given a good amount to do in her small little time, and she's just having a blast, and she does a great job. She's very striking, and her presence is just felt on the screen. Now let's talk about the newer additions. Hayley Atwell is a grand decision to add her to this cast. She's so good. Her chemistry with every single cast member is fantastic. She just has instant chemistry with them on the screen. She's wiry, she's chaotic, she's real fun. She's very different from any other characters that have been inside of this franchise before, and it makes me want to see her have her own action movie that she leads. I really enjoyed her character as kind of another main character in the film, and where her arc goes, how they execute everything with her, how her character starts and where it leads to. It's just really fascinating, really enjoying. I'm really excited to see what else she can do. Pom Klementieff, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name correctly, but this is Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. She is phenomenal as this character in here. She's very underwritten, unfortunately, but through sheer charisma, fun, and really great acting and physical abilities, she just shines in every scene she's in, even though she's just the silent antagonist, which is a bit of a stereotype, but she just makes it her own, and she's just really great. And the story is actually pretty relevant to today's times. A lot of stuff that we're dealing with is AI and people being scared of it and paranoid about it, some people using it for their benefit, and that's what this movie deals with, an all-powerful AI. And I think that they executed it in a way that made sense, and you can relate to some of the conversations of what the capability is, like what this thing is doing, how it's evolving. Some stories in the news today is talking about how AI now is kind of doing that. So I think that aspect is very different for this franchise. Usually we're dealing with nuclear weapons and bioweapons, but this is something that's more futuristic, more technology based, and I really enjoy that they tried something a little bit more ambitious here. Action is bold, gripping, and thrilling. The movie doesn't touch the heights and insanity of Fallout, but it almost does, and it's so good, so much grittier than it has been in the past. And McQuarrie definitely did that and used that to his advantage, because actors are a lot older now. making it more grittier, more close combat, not as athletic, just made more sense for the Asian actors so that it covers up their flaws and their physical limitations. So I think they did a really great job of making a more visceral, more violent feeling and feeling like the stakes were a little bit higher. Two set pieces in this film are so thrilling that it gave me anxiety as I was watching the movie. Two of them are advertised in the trailers. There's one where there's a chase sequence with Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise, and that was executed so well. It feels so different from everything else that we got in the franchise. It's a lot more fun. It has a little bit more comedy bits in between when they're doing certain things, which is not something that this franchise usually does, but it's a welcome, sprinkle it throughout the movie. And there's the train sequence that they really advertise real heavy for this film, and it is way better than I expected to be, and it's so anxiety inducing, so intense. Couldn't believe how good that sequence was. While I do like the idea of the AI enemy and the implications and the real world parallels and the paranoia that they touched on here, because of past films having some physical problems, something that they had to chase, whether it was a bioweapon, nuclear codes, or something like that, there was a disconnect for me with the whole AI situation. It not being something that a physical person could grab, something that people had to worry about that is nowhere but everywhere. I think that concept is great, but for like half the movie, I didn't feel the urgency because I didn't really have that connection of like, oh, okay, if you press this button, a missile's going to go off. If you press this button, this gas is going to go and kill people. It's not that. It's something way different from that. And I think that concept got lost on me for a little bit. Let me know in the comments below if you felt that same, if you saw the movie. And also, if you aren't into like the sci-fi aspects like that in the film. I know that past Mission Impossible don't usually do that. Just giving you a warning. And the film surprisingly started making fun of itself, or fun of the franchise in total, being self-referential and kind of talking about like certain things that the characters have done in like a satirical way. And I thought it was funny. I just hope that they don't lean too heavy into it, because that's something that the Fast and Furious series has done, and now it's not funny anymore, because we were making fun of it when it didn't know that it was, funny and it was taking itself serious. It was fun. But when it's on the joke, it's not as fun, because now you're not taking yourself so seriously. So the great thing about Mission Impossible is that it's very classy in the way they do the action and the practicality of everything. So hopefully that's limited in the part 2 of this film. And my biggest negative I have, and it's not even really that big because this movie is awesome, but there's a lot of heavy exposition, especially in the beginning of the film. There's like an office sequence that they showed in the trailers where they're just talking and going on and on and on. And it feels like, oh my God, I didn't need all this information. This could have been compacted by like half. You could have cut this scene in half and still had the same execution. It does lead to an exciting scene, but at the same time, it's like, Jesus Christ. And then throughout the film, there's sections of just like heavy exposition. We got to explain every single thing right here at this moment for you to understand what's about to come next. And I wish it was more sprinkled throughout the film instead of just dumped on you in one moment. While I do think that Fallout is still the best Mission Impossible film, I do think that this movie is not too far behind, because it's ambitious, it's gritty, it's an amazing 2 hour and 43 minutes that flies by. I never felt like it was going on too long or it was bogged down because it was just repeating scenes or anything like that. It was just going. Had some pit stops here to tell you what's going on, but for the most part, it was just really fun, thrilling, and just engaging throughout. It is a part 1, but I have to say that they executed in a way where this feels satisfying and the main crux of the story gets resolved, but it's left open-ended enough that I'm really excited to see what happens in part 2. And then maybe once we get part 2 and we get this full 5-hour experience together, this may be the best of the franchise. So with that said, I gotta say, go see this in the biggest screen, best sounding, go Dolby, IMAX, whatever is your most premium, biggest screen you can. It's meant to be seen on the biggest screen because it's that explosive, that fun, that colorful, and it's one of the best action movies on the planet. And with that said, I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a B+. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you personally rate Mission Impossible 7 if you got to see the movie already? And based on my review, if you have not seen it yet, are you going to go check it out in theaters? I implore you to do so. Drop all those comments down below. Let's discuss the movie. I'm really excited to talk about some of those set pieces with people. And like this video, get this video poppin', subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell to keep you notified of my reviews, reactions, live discussion, and join this great community I'm building. And you can watch more of my content